Welcome, everyone. You've made it to Pack a Punch with picture-perfect visual storytelling how-tos, if that's not a mouthful. My name is Leanne Regan, and I am delighted to have you here. And I have to say that my morning has been a little bit like this. I'm coming to you from Nairobi, and the internet cable was cut. So I think it's actually kind of apropos. I'm coming to you from the UN in a beautiful room with these lovely, lovely images here. So welcome, you made it. I'm so delighted that you're here. If we haven't had the pleasure of meeting before, know that I am a learning and development expert, and I focus mostly on designing and delivering workshops for change makers, working better together workshops, which is team building, conflict resolution, communication, things like that. And then I do a lot of tech tool workshops and then training of trainers. So working with change makers to help you design and deliver really interesting, engaging workshops. So take a deep breath. You're here. You belong here. You made it. We just have some more people coming in. I wanted to let you know that I realize that some of you might be operating in a language that is not your first language. So I'll just put this information in the chat. If you want to turn on captions, you can change the closed captions to pretty much any language you wish. So the instructions are there in the chat. And also, I welcome you to give yourself the gift of presence. So I know that you have a lot on your plate, and I'm just, again, tickled and delighted that you chose to spend time with us here today. So just before we dive in, I'd like you to just take a couple of deep breaths, close your eyes, just take a couple of deep breaths in and out. And in your mind's eye, just imagine a cup that contains all the things that are on your to-do list. And it might need to be, maybe that cup is very, very large. But just imagine that that cup holds all of the things that you need to do. And now imagine that that cup is slowly emptying. So those things are they're going away just temporarily. They're not disappearing for good. But just imagine that all of those to-dos, all of the things on your mind are just temporarily emptying out of that. And once that cup is empty, imagine it now being filled with your focus, with your presence, with being engaged, with concentrating on our time here together. So give yourself the gift of presence. Okay, and if you've closed your eyes, feel free to open your eyes. If your attention starts to drift, you can always bring it back to that cup. Okay, this workshop today is on visual storytelling, and I have to say a big thank you. The members always, the roundtable members always suggest different topics, and I love this one. I spent a good chunk of time getting ready for it and doing research. So however you come here today, however you come to be here today, by the way, Jasmine, I saw your note about the volume. I started off by saying that the internet here was cut in Nairobi for my provider. So I had to dash and come to the UN. So my volume is up as loud as it can be. So hopefully you can put headphones on. I can always at the break, maybe I'll change to headphones and see if that helps too. Let me know in the chat. Are other people having issues with volume? Let me know. And Larry's, yeah, I know they don't have Swahili yet in the captions, but I know. Okay, so however you come to be here today with images, your background with them, how you feel about visual storytelling, I thought would start off with this particular little clip here. So take a look, take a listen. Friend, how are you? Me, pretty good. Still hanging in there. This is the hanging in there I'm referring to. Okay, so however you come to be here, whatever your life is like at the moment, if you've had a very smooth morning or afternoon or evening, or it's been completely topsy-turvy like mine, know that you're welcome. Oh, great to hear that other folks are having good issues with the volume. Thank you. Okay, so my intention is for you to come away from today's workshop thinking, oh, that was such a great use of my time. That was a really good decision to come to the roundtable. So a couple of suggestions. Please participate, ask questions, offer resources, really use that chat. Also know that we have a LinkedIn Learning and Development Roundtable group. So if you haven't already, you can join that. I've just put that in the chat. There's also a Facebook Learning and Development Roundtable, which you can join if you're interested. And by the way, if future you is listening or watching this, all of these links will be down below in the description. And please, I love growing the Learning Development Roundtable community. So please share that membership link if you find value in today. And know that you automatically became a member when you joined today. So welcome. Also, I always welcome your feedback. So at the end of the workshop today, I'll be asking you for your feedback. And I always draw someone as a winner of my Ban Boring Online Meetings course. So I'll announce who that winner is at the end of today's workshop. And members have given me lots of really great feedback, including Leanne. We love getting the video and the workbook and the audio recording, etc. But we want to have it earlier. So it does take myself and my team some time to put it together. So you will get all of those resources early next week, but the PowerPoint will arrive in your inbox an hour and a half from now. So poof, it will be there when we finish today. Okay, also I encourage you to curate your learning. It's one thing to take these workshops. It's a whole other thing to remember and to use what you're learning. So each roundtable I share, I rotate between a few different tools. So free, if this is of interest, you can download this worksheet and use it to help you remember and help you use what you're learning. Okay, so that's a little bit of housekeeping. I wanted to bring it over to you. Let me know in the chat, where are you? Where are you coming from? And for those who've just joined, my morning has been topsy-turvy. The internet got cut completely. So I did a mad dash to the UN, and it's kind of apropos because I'm in this beautiful room that has these graffiti behind here. So it's kind of appropriate given our topic. So let me know in the chat, where are you? Hi, Juan. Juan's in Geneva. Where else are people coming from? Let me know. Bangkok. Hi, Marcy. Carla's in Beirut. Hi, Stefan. First time. Oh, and in Serbia. Special welcome to you. Abby is in Berlin. Oh, they're coming fast and furious here. Awesome. Amalia is in Nairobi. So is Alvin. Neha's in New Delhi. Oh, lovely. Wanjuma's in Tanzania. Reza's in Geneva. Larix is in Kenya. We've got Italy, Nairobi. Ivory Coast, Kiev. By the way, if I mispronounce your name throughout the workshop, just send me a DM. You know. Ali's in Somalia. Oh, haven't been to Mogadishu sometime. Lovely to have you. Okay, so I asked you in the I sent you out the agenda, and I asked you to bring an item that has a story behind it. So if you want to share that, you can just use the tool there to raise your hand. I'll just take one or two examples in a second. And as you're getting ready there to share, if you didn't bring an item, or you're like, Leanne, I'm just happy I made it, I didn't have any time to prep, don't worry, don't let your blood pressure get out of control. But if you do have an example, let me know. My example that I brought is 5 years ago now, almost 5 years ago, I celebrated my 25th wedding anniversary. And I 25 days, I guess it was, before my anniversary, I made 25 different maps. And this map here is our, we're diehard Mac fans. So this is a map of our lineage of Macintosh items. So, and I did a whole bunch of other maps as well, leading up to our 25th wedding anniversary. So, did anyone bring an item that they want to share? Let me know. And again, no pressure. If you're like, Leanne, I just am happy I'm here. I'm barely skidded into my seat and made it. Or if you wish, you can share a description of your item in the chat as well. Okay. Okay, I'll keep going, but if you want to come back to that, you just let me know. So as we start into our roadmap here, I'm going to share with you how visual images are really like magic tricks, and how they really help with engagement and retention, and how to move from displaying your data to telling a story. What are the elements for great images? 6 lessons for great visual storytelling, some really simple, cool tech tools. And then you'll also get access to the workbook next week, as well as the video recording, the audio recording. And as members, you get access to 11 plus years of roundtables. Also, if you are a UN staff, you certainly don't have to be a UN staff, but if you are, and you're here in the roundtable, you can count this towards your professional development. And I'll give you the link to register for that if you wish. Okay, are you ready to dive in? Just give me a thumbs up in the chat or put an emoji in there. Are you ready to dive into visual storytelling? Okay, great. I see a bunch of thumbs up. Okay, so why is visual storytelling so important? I came across this concept. Has anyone heard of infobesity? Infobesity? Oh, Stefan's saying I would like the link. Let me know, Stefan, the link to what? I'm not sure what you mean there. This came from a bunch of research I did. And by the way, I'll give you one link at the end of the workshop today that gives you access to all of the resources that I talk about. So you'll get that today as well as in the workbook next week. Hi, Padma, nice to have you here. Information overload. Yeah, exactly. We have so much information coming at us. So visual images really help to cut through that, right? They really make a difference. Larix is saying, just learned of infobesity from your workshop details. Oh, great. Yeah, it was a new term to me as well. Also, visual storytelling really helps with engagement. This, you may have seen this before. Let me know if this is familiar to you. This social media ladder of engagement. So where we want to eventually move people up this ladder from being a clan to being curious, to being in a congregation, to being committed, to being our core audience. So visual storytelling can really help people move up that ladder. Also, it gives our content, our beloved subject matter expertise, it gives it soul, right? And it compels us to go on a journey, right? We sometimes think that we're being very, point A to point B, but without those images, sometimes it doesn't come across as clear to the folks that we are working with. Let me know in the chat, what are the topics that you are dealing with in terms of visual storytelling? What are you looking for images for? What are the topics that you're trying to tell a story about? In other words, what's your subject matter expertise? Let me know in the chat. I'm curious to know. So we've got Infobesity, right? Helping with dealing with that information overload, increasing engagement, giving us, giving our content a soul and helping us go on a journey. Also, it actually is faster processing, right? And it actually helps us access a whole bunch of emotions, which is really, really helpful again with remembering, with retention, etc. Oh, we've got some great subject matter experts here. We've got what's VUCA? And I'm not sure what that is. Sounds very interesting. Marcy's saying greenhouse gases, methane specifically. Want to say chemicals and waste issues worldwide. Amalia, employee collaboration. Oh, I just wrote a blog post on collaboration. Neha saying women's trafficking, labor migration, decent work. Natalie, how to unpack UN language into easily understandable and calling for engagement. Larix is saying in the AI industry. Oh, I'm just taking a course on AI and L&D right now. It's so interesting. Anouk is food systems. Esther, mental health. Oh, so good. So there's so many great things that are probably really, really interesting to you. And visual storytelling can help make it compelling and interesting, especially to people who may not initially find it so interesting. I know it's a crime, right? You've worked so hard for this subject matter expertise. Everyone should be interested in it. Okay. The fifth one is visual storytelling can really help going from broadcasting, so one way, to conversations, right? So going from one way, lecturing, which we know doesn't work in terms of retention and engagement, to more of a dialogue, more conversation. Larix is saying, loop me in on your AI journey. How would I share that? I'm actually doing some AI training probably for a UN agency. If you're interested in that, I'm going to share a program, my workshop catalog later on, and you can always send me an email. Rosa saying diversity and inclusion. Oh, and someone sent me a DM about the link. So the link for the recording and the workbook and the audio, you'll get that early next week. It'll go out to everybody. So that will come to you automatically. Okay, reason number 6, it gets your tribe to tell your story. So it's really an efficient use of your time and your energy because it makes the information, the data, the concepts that you work so hard on, it makes it more compelling and more likely that people will then talk about it, right? Imagine what these slides would look like if there was no images, right? I don't think I have any slides without any image at all. Okay, so we've got 6 reasons for why visual storytelling is so important. Let's talk about the what. So what is visual storytelling? So, pardon me, when I say the word image, what comes to mind? So let me know in the chat, when I say the word image, what comes to mind? So let me know in the chat. Oh, so Diogo's saying icons. Yeah, great. Pictures. Oh, Stefan's saying emotion, reputation, Instagram posts, a picture, drawings, photos, nature. Oh, lovely. Infographics, colors, action, more infographics. Yeah. So visual descriptors, representation. Yeah, exactly. So there are so many different ways of using visual storytelling. You can see right now, I've got a logo, I've got a video. I just not by planning, but I have a very visually compelling background because of internet not working today and having to dash to the UN. I've got an image, right? There's a lot of examples on this one slide alone. So when you think of visual storytelling, really expand what that can mean for you and for your audience, whoever your target audience is. Oh, Anna's saying volatility, uncertainty, complexity, ambiguity. Oh, that's very interesting. Oh, I love that. That's so good. And subject matter expertise is systemic practice. Oh, great. Okay, so I'm not sure who your target audience is, Anne, but if it's people that aren't experts in that area, visual images can really, really help, because it sounds like there's a lot of like very specialized language in your area. Okay, so visual images, different types of images can include photography, graphs, drawings, cartoons, collages, images that have text on them, word clouds, memes, GIFs or GIFs, infographics, videos, etc. And they really can help make a big difference, right? Like, I love this image. I could do not that I would do this, but I could do a lecture for an hour on the importance of facts and thinking critically, etc. And this one image where a person is looking through a very tiny hole in the wall saying, "It's raining, you lied to me, I can see it all from here." Whereas the person, the cover says social media. By the way, I'm explaining this because I know some people might be on phones or the image might be very small. Oh, in the package, you'll get access to the PowerPoint. And again, you'll get the PowerPoint right at the end of our workshop. It'll be sent to you automatically. And then the other perspective is the person who's seeing over the wall and can see it's actually not raining. It's a water tank that's leaking. Okay, so think about all different types of images. Think about the ones that you typically are your go-tos, and then see if you can expand from there. What are ones that you don't tend to use too often? When we talk about elements of good visuals, right, this is not a good one right now because it's just way, way, way too detailed, right? If this was a workshop that was really important to you getting ahead in your work, probably you'd be very frustrated because this image is just too tiny. So some elements to think about. And by the way, this comes from The Power of Visual Storytelling, How to Use Visuals, Videos, and Social Media to Market Your Brand. I've put that link or that name of that book in the chat, and it will also be in the workbook and from there. So a couple of things to think about is, of course, design. Right? What does the visual look like? Does it follow good elements of design? Can you personalize that visual? So does it make sense to the audience that you are working with? And that there's a nice link to that in terms of diversity, equity, and inclusion. Are the images, are the visuals really reflective of the people that you're working with? Is it useful? Is there some kind of personality in the visual? Does it tell a story? And is it worthy of being shared, right? In our fast-paced social media world, is it something that's compelling that people like? Can they share it? Is it possible to share it? And would they share it? Is it compelling? Oops, sorry. Okay, so we've talked about the why of visual storytelling. Now we're talking about the what. What have you or do you need to use visuals for? I'd love to know in the chat. Just give me some examples. What are some ways that you have or would like to use visuals? I'm just reading, someone sent me a DM, which is lovely. Welcome to that person this is their first time. Okay, Enoch. Hi, Enoch. Oh, it's nice to have you here. Okay, presentations, Natalia presentations. Rosa, a little more attention. Marcia, presentations and fact sheets. Diogo, explain complex ideas to non-technical people. Oh, visuals are so great for that, right? So, so great. Judy is simplifying data. Amalia, maintaining attention of audience, better demonstration, and is helping leaders to connect and sense making. I love how some of you were very pragmatic in terms of the mode of delivery, and most of you are focusing on presentations, and then others are focusing on the purpose, the goal of them, which is great. And speaking of goals, think about the goal of the visual, right? What is the goal? So, and you can, another way to think about this, I'll just bring you back quickly. This is another, this ladder of engagement. You can think about this in terms of goals as well. So what is your goal? You know, are you trying to raise awareness? Are you trying to educate? Are you trying to engage? Are you trying to grow a community? Are you trying to be a thought leader? Are you trying to get publicity? Okay, I'm just going to take a quick look. So Anna Kern is saying to make a point with impact. Eduardo's saying to promote the circular economy opportunities for students. Nice. Okay, so you've got a very defined audience and a defined content area there. Ali, oh, reporting, tables and graphs. Oh, Ali, let me know. I'll show you a very cool tool for that. Let me know later on if this is new for you or not. This is saying quick way to communicate with large groups of people. Advertising, great. Anna's getting big ideas out into the real world. Enoch is saying to engage and pitching an idea. Oh, and then the DM, a person saying vision casting as we manage change. Oh, lovely. Okay, and we've got to folks that are just coming in, welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay, so we've talked about the what, we've talked about the why, let's talk about the where. And basically where not, right? I love this idea of this iceberg concept, right? Sometimes we think just the tip, right? We might get channeled into our thinking, okay, the only place I can use these, are presentations. But actually there's so many places. PowerPoints, reports, blogs, newsletter, websites, social media, lots and lots and lots of different places. Okay, let me just take a pause there and let me just ask you, do you have any questions? Do you have, yes, Rosa, even emails, absolutely, yes. So let me take a pause. Any questions at all? I know it can take a while to type out a question, so I'm just going to pause. Any comments, any questions, any examples of really a really great use of an image or a time where it didn't go well? Okay, Larry's saying, how do you decide what images resonate with the target audience? Oh, it's a great question. And please, folks in the chat, feel free to dive in because these are questions that I know that we have. One of the benefits of the roundtable community is that there's so much wisdom here. So I think when I think of target audience, I often think of diversity, equity, and inclusion. By the way, next month's roundtable is on unconscious bias. So that might be a topic that can also help you with your visuals as well. So I think of things like literacy. If I'm using text with visuals, right, you can actually measure the literacy rate that it takes to read the text that you're using. I think about cultural indicators. So are there things in the images that would be only understandable by certain folks and not other people? And I think in terms of, does anyone know, can you think about when you were a young person in school, does anybody know what LCD is? What does LCD stand for? Any guesses? Liquid crystal display. I like that, Hari. Yes, Neha. Lowest common denominator. So I always try to think about what is the lowest common denominator. So if I was to say something like, well, I did this one time. Actually, I made a mistake. I will confess. I used an image that was not a very good image to use. And it was the Oscar Mayer how do I say this without giving away? The Oscar Mayer truck. So does anybody know if I say the Oscar Mayer, does anybody know what Oscar Mayer is? This will naturally include some of you, and it'll naturally exclude some of you. Yes, Harry. Yes, yes. So people from the Canada, myself, I'm Canadian, and from the US, well, it's it's shorthand for a very well-known hot dog brand from the I don't know, 1990s, 1980s. And there was a little jingle, oh, the Oscar Mayer Wiener, da, 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 da. I'm not going to hurt your ears by trying to sing it. So I remember one time I used this image in a presentation years ago of this Oscar Mayer Wiener truck. And it was a very poor decision on my part because it excluded people, right? Some people got it right away. They didn't even have to think about it. But other people are like, Leanne, what is this thing? And a lot of times people won't ask you; they'll just feel excluded, and you'll lose them. Okay, Anne saying I do New York Times puzzle. It's a daily education in Americana. I'm UK, so it's karma. Great. Okay, so think about in your images, are there things that the image should pretty instantly, like it shouldn't take someone 5 minutes to figure out what this image is. So, pardon me, you want to think about cultural relevance, you want to think about the design, you want to think potentially about age. Someone talked about college students. So are there things that in the image that a young person would understand and it's appropriate because you're working with young people, or it's not appropriate because older people wouldn't get it? Eyesight, if you're working with people that are older or people with vision impairment, is the image big enough for people to see? You might also want to think about inclusion issues in terms of people who have color, colorblind. Someone asked a really great question. As I mentioned, every roundtable I ask for your very valuable feedback. And then again, as a way of encouraging you, of giving me that feedback, I'll do it again at the end of today. I always draw someone to win my Ban Boring online meeting course, and I'll announce who that winner is. But as a oh, I just lost my point. Sorry. Where was I going with that? Anyways, as a means of thinking about who's going to feel included in this image, and if anyone's not going to be included, then you don't want to use it. Oh, that's where I was going. I got really great feedback because in the feedback form, I asked people about ideas for the next workshop, and someone asked about how do you work with people who have visual impairments. So I'm going to talk about that as well, because that can definitely be something that inadvertently excludes people. Yeah, Rosa, everyone interprets visuals differently. Absolutely. And hopefully, if you're trying to make a particular point, you don't want that variance to be too big. So you can ask people, right? You can, but make sure you're asking your target audience, right? If you are working with circular economy experts, don't ask your teenage son unless he's a circular economy expert. Ask your target audience if you're not sure about a particular visual. Stefan saying that's where there's primary target group, secondary, et cetera. Depends on the campaign or message that's getting in the air. Lyrics, yes, I'm guessing the storytelling would also give context to the image. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, any other questions or comments or resources? Just pause there for a moment. I'm just going to also quickly take a look. Oh, Regar, I love that you guessed that the Oscar Mayer was a ham food truck. Yeah, food can be a huge cultural thing too, right? It can be appropriate or inappropriate, depending on cultures. Rosa's saying inserting caption to images is important in Word, Excel, PowerPoint, email. Yes, I'm going to talk about that. Absolutely. Yeah. Harry's saying, what do you do when you know nothing about your audience? Oh, Harry, that's a great question. It's a little bit like the roundtable, right? So I haven't met you before. So you make your best guess and then you ask for feedback, especially if it's a presentation or a piece of work that you're going to use repeatedly. Make sure that you ask for feedback. Sorry, I'm trying to, inserting these cameos are really helpful in the recording, how the recording turns out. But it means I have to stay very still, otherwise it turns off. Yeah, Stefan's saying research and feedback, absolutely. Okay. Okay. Any other questions before we're going to take a quick break in a couple of minutes? We're about halfway through. We're getting close to halfway through. But any other questions before we move on? Or anything that hasn't made sense or you're confused about, or a resource that you want to share? At the end of the workshop, I'll give you one link that opens up all of the resources that I used in this to research this workshop. Okay. Okay, well then give me a thumbs up. Oh, Gabriella, ask for feedback when exactly. Sorry, oh yeah, no worries. So you can do, there's three, well, actually, I guess 4 points to ask for feedback. One is when you pre-engage people. So if you have access to people before the workshop, so I always ask in the survey that I'll give you at the end of this one, I always ask for input for the next workshop. And then I really take into account that feedback when I design that next workshop. So you can ask before, you can ask during, right? So constantly, and now I'm kind of defaulting to a live presentation. So you have to adjust this for your particular method of delivery. But you can ask during. So constantly asking, do you have any questions? And then making sure that you answer those questions. So how many times have you been part of a webinar where someone asks a question in the chat and then it doesn't get answered, right? So that happens sometimes. So making sure that you're responding to that feedback as you ask for it during. Then the third time is afterwards, right? So making sure you've got some kind of feedback mechanism. And then if you have the capacity, you can do post feedback. So you can ask a month after, 6 months after, whatever you wish. So Gabriella, let me know if that makes sense. Rosa's saying, oh, Rosa, the link to count this towards your UN professional development, I will give that link at the end of the workshop. Yeah, I always give it out at the end of the workshop, and then you just click on it and fill it in. It's super easy. Okay, you're so welcome. Okay, so we're going to head into a break in just a minute, but I want you to hopefully feel proud of yourself. Look at how much we've covered, right? Like visual images are really like a bit of a magic trick, right? They really help with engagement and retention. They help you from moving from displaying your data to telling a story. And we went over the elements for great images. So in a moment, we're going to take a quick break. And after the break, we're going to talk about 6 lessons for great storytelling. Some really, now, if you've been to a roundtable before, you know how much I love tech tools. So I'm going to show you what I think are some really cool, simple tech tools. And then next week, you'll get access to the workbook, etc. So thank you for everyone who filled in the feedback form last month. It really helps in so many ways. And I will share that, that link with you to the feedback form at the end of today's workshop. And you'll get a chance, if you fill it in, you'll get a chance to win my Ban Boring Online Meetings course, which I just put the link to in the chat there. So please, as we shift into a break in a second, please make sure that you share that this membership link. I'd love to grow our community. And that there's also that code there is also the QR code is the link to the membership. Our next roundtable is October 17th. It's on unconscious bias, and we're going to have a guest speaker. And also, I have just updated my catalog. So if you want to take a look at that, it's right here. And just putting that in the break. And also, I really, really admire and respect the wisdom in this group. And I am thinking about designing some content that people can access not in real time, so on your own time. So there is a survey there. I would love to hear from you. How often do you consume learning content on your own time? Like it's not in real time, like right now. How much do you like, asynchronous, so content that's on your on time? How interested would you be in being able to access some of my asynchronous content? And I'm thinking about maybe bundling some content into different topics. So there's a survey there for that. So if you are interested, I would love to hear. And so before we take a quick 5-minute break, Ali's saying as part of health education on prevention of malaria in the countryside, public health teams used big posters of mosquitoes. No change in the trend of the outbreak. The team returned to discuss with the community as a follow-up visit. The community members reported that they are still searching for the animal on the poster, but they didn't come across the animal up till now. Images can be confusing if they're not appropriately explained. Absolutely. Ali, thank you so much for taking time to share that very interesting example. I really noticed during COVID, different parts around the world, different places around the world use different images to explain how far apart to stand. And I know when I was working in Somalia, it was it 2 camels or 1 camel, right? So there was a picture of two people standing, I think a camel's width apart. So, okay, we're going to take a 5-minute break. So please relax, take a stretch, and we will see you back in 5 minutes. Thank you so much, everyone. Mega got a bottle of water, Gabriella texting. Nice. What else? Oh, Nelly got kicked out. Oh, glad you're back. Glad you're back. Grab some peppermint tea. I do not have taste buds for tea or coffee, which is so inconvenient. My beverage of choice for caffeine is Diet Coke, which I know is not very healthy. Esther got a cup of coffee. Serena got water. I was looking at so I don't know how much you can see this graffiti painted here. I'm at the UN today in Nairobi, and I was looking at the QR code to explain it. Judy was reading the Bible. Rosa got a banana. Wanjuma went through the Facebook group. Oh, nice, nice. Okay, well, welcome back. And again, if you have time, I would love your feedback for this survey. It's a pretty big business development that I'm looking at doing here. So, and please be honest, if this is stuff that doesn't interest you, do not feel any compulsion to say that, you're super interested in this. Oh, Gabriella, thank you. Thank you for filling that in. That's awesome. Okay. Give me a thumbs up. Are you ready to dive back into, we're going to talk about how. So we've hopefully I've laid the groundwork. Now I'm going to talk about how and some really cool tech tools. Oh, thank you, Mega. Thank you, Neha, for filling in the survey. That's awesome. Okay. Great. Okay. I can see some thumbs up there. Okay. So we are going to talk about some lessons and really how to do this visual storytelling, right? Here we go. So when we focus on how, really, again, I just really wanted to reiterate, think about your goal. right? Think about how to get your audience to clarity quickly. So you may have heard this story about people with visual impairments or people who have their eyes closed touching an elephant. And depending on what part of the elephant you touch, you get a very different idea of what an elephant is. So if you're really clear on your goal, then you'll help your audience get to clarity quicker. And part of that is knowing your audience and then really showing, not telling. So, really helping them discover things for themselves, telling a story, and having a setting, having characters, and having a journey. So, um, so some guidelines for all of this is really think about what is your pearl. You know, we might think about as subject matter experts, like I'm so passionate about learning and development that I could, you know, it would be easy for me to design like a 5-day course and really, you know, dig deep. And for, you know, lots of people actually, let's do something right now. I'm going to set the timer for 1 minute for 1 minute. And I would like you to, in the chat, make a list of the things that are on your to-do list. So at the beginning, when I was asking you to put them all in that cup, so what are the things on your to-do list? I'm going to give you 1 minute to do that. And then at the end of the minute, press enter. So don't press enter for each item, but press enter, press send after 1 minute. So see as many things as you can. What's on your to-do list? What are you thinking about? Okay, on your mark, get set, go. You've got 1 minute to write as many things as possible that oh, raise a good question. It could be today, it could be long-term, whatever you wish. Good, really good clarifying question. So the things that are on your mind. And of course, don't put things that you don't want to share that are, you know, personal and private, but make a list of all the things that are on your mind. You're halfway through, 30 seconds. Thanks, Rugari. Hopefully we'll see you next month and have a good rest of your day. You'll get the PowerPoint emailed to you at the end of our time together, and then the rest of the resources will come early next week. Okay, you got 5 seconds left. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, press enter. This is so good. Great. Okay, so think of these as the things that you need to cut through for your participants, for your target audience, for your clients, whatever you call, for your member state people, you know, whatever you call the people you're working with. So it's really important to find those pearls, right? The really important pearl in the oyster there. Okay, and then think about think about most of this information, by the way, comes from this very wonderful book called Storytelling with Data. I'd hide especially if you want to take a really deep dive. It is incredibly detailed. By Cole Nussbaumer Knaflic, Storytelling with Data. It's such a great book. Okay, so let's dive into that's where I've got these things from. So the first one is context. The next thing, and this is I had talked to someone earlier about this, about displaying data. Let me know, are you familiar with heat maps? Oh, Gabriela's saying, I love SWD. What's SWD, Gabriela? Oh, by the way, one thing that can help in your presentations and your workshops is if you admit you don't know things, then it makes it more likely people will ask questions. Storytelling with data. Okay, great. Okay, thank you. So I'm assuming you have that book. Yeah, it's so good. Okay, so heat map. Do people know what a heat map is? Hugo saying yes, yes, yes. So heat maps show the concentration of specific attributes On a map. Yes. Oh, Gabriel, you've had training delivered by the, oh, wow. Oh, lucky you. Feel free, if there's resources you can share, feel free to share those, and I'm happy to put them in the workbook if you like. Yes, I would, the only addition I would make to that, Hugh, is it doesn't necessarily have to be a map, right? So let me show you what I mean here. So I do a lot of team building for clients, and it's all customized. So they get, all the participants get a survey ahead of time. We to look at their assets and their gaps, and then what they think their priorities are for training, etc. And then I design a very customized team building and training for that group. So I'm showing you some real data from this survey. So this is one of the questions. So I always ask the teams, to fill in this data. Now, if you're not a data wonk like me, right? You're not a statistician. How easy would it be for you to interpret this data? So feel free to put in the chat, how easy would it be for you to interpret this data, or yeah, to look at themes and trends and things like that? Would it be easy? Would it be hard? What do you think? How easy? So this is real data from teams. Um, I love that. That's so great. Okay, so Gabrielle is saying, no idea what it says, and I'm an economist. Haha. So Amalia, very easy. Megan, quite difficult to ascertain patterns. Marcy, difficult. Natalia, for me, it's fine. However, you need to do a deep dive. Juan saying, okay, could be complemented in a graph. Oh, Juan, you're getting ahead. You're getting ahead. Hang on for just a second. Neha saying it would take me a couple of minutes to digest. Nino, it would be time consuming. Yeah, exactly, right? So this is where a heat map comes in, right? This is a heat map, and it is incredibly easy to do. Like I'll show you how to do it later. I'll explain the um how to make, like, literally you can do this in 30 seconds. It's so fast. And what a heat map does in terms of this example is the darker the color, the higher the concentration. So if I was to ask you, and it might be a little too hard for you to read, but if I was to ask you, let me just annotate the screen here. So our team, let me see. Our team respects each other. This one here. What's the most popular answer? Is it not at all, a little, average, quite a bit, or very much? So I'm looking at this line of data right here. It's a bit, oops. So Rosa is saying much better. Judy, very much. Amalia, yeah, the heat map is on point. Yeah, one, exactly. The darker the color, right? So 468, right? So you don't have to think about this. You don't have to, let me just erase this data here, or the, so you don't have to miss out on interpreting this data. It is so simple. It's so simple. And I will, again, I'll show you how to do this. You can do it in 30 seconds. It's so fast. Duke saying showing a huge data set without color as table is useless in my opinion. Yeah, so this here, right? This just to be super clear, this table and this table are exactly the same data, except this one tells a story. Well, this one tells a story, but it's really hard to figure out, right? You really have to take a long time to kind of analyze, find the patterns, find the themes, etc. Whereas this one makes it much, much easier to interpret. So going back to how to is, you want to think about your context, right? So who are you working with? What's happening in the lives of those people, etc. So I know, for example, right after COVID, when I started doing in-person training again, that context was really important. People weren't used to being in the office again, right? And then, of course, think about the visual. So do things like heat maps, if you have data to display. And then think about clutter, right? So how can you get rid of things that aren't incredibly important, right? So think about the, I don't know, maybe your desk looks like this, I don't know, or your home, but like it's really hard to find what's the most important thing when there's too much information on the slide, on in the visual, in the report, on the poster, etc. And clutter can include proximity. So if things are too close together, our eyes don't like that, right? It actually causes some tension, right? Can you enclose things to really help people decrease clutter? And also the use of white space. So all of those things really, really help with telling a good story. And here's an example. So this comes out of this wonderful book again. Oh, and I just saw a question. So Larix is saying, which one do you prefer, Leanne? In-person workshop, virtual or hybrid? Oh, that depends on the client, right? It depends on the topic, it depends on the client, the number of people. So there's not an easy answer to that, but yeah, it's a great question. So this is an example. I just took a quick picture of an image in the book. So this would be a cluttered example, right? So not a very good graph. And then look at this one. So this is the same data, right? But much, much less cluttered. So bit A, right? There's a lot of stuff going on there, right? Even including those lines that those horizontal lines, right? And then this one is much, much, much cleaner, right? Okay. Actually, I'm going to go back to this for a second. So I am going to ask you to close your eyes. Now, if the thought of closing your eyes makes your heart rate go up, just soften your gaze and don't look at the screen. Okay, so that's the important thing, is don't look at the screen. I am going to change the slide in just a second and ask you to open up your eyes in just a second. And I'm going to ask you, where did your eye land? Okay, so close your eyes or look away from the screen. Close your eyes or look away from the screen. Okay, I've just changed the slide. Now open your eyes, look at the screen, and tell me, where did your eyes land? So where did you focus? Megan says the word focus, the red. Yeah, the red focus. So same with Amalia. So great. So this is a very simple and a very effective exercise. If you're designing a slide, you're designing a poster, etc., is literally close your eyes or look away and then open your eyes or look back and see, where do your eyes land. And here's the thing. If your eyes land on something that's not important, then you got to change the design, right? Because you want your eyes to land on something that's on an important thing. You can really take a super deep dive into this. So for example, if you know about the principle of Z, so I'm Canadian, I say it Z, some people say Z. Our eyes tend to go in the formation of a Z, so you can put important information in those areas. There's all sorts of different things. And notice that it seems like my intention, which worked, was to have you focus on the word focus. Those kind of blurry lines really guide your eyes into that word. And then that word is the only red color on the slide, right? So it's very deliberate where your eyes went. Okay, so we've got context, we've got visual, right? Things like heat maps, we've got getting rid of clutter. What can you take out from your slides, from your posters, from your memes, your GIFs, etc.? And where is that focus going? And then you can think like a designer, right? And I would add there too, think like a learning and development expert, right? So really like deliberate use of color, deliberate use of fonts, of sizes, of placement, of having things be consistent. So in my slides, you'll see they're very consistent, right? I've got the box that has the concept that I, a kind of a brief overview, and then the details are on the right side. You'll also see, and I do this very deliberately in slides, that if I have a list of things to go over, I keep the previous things there because I don't know if you've been part of workshops where the presenter goes ahead, but you're like, what was number 3? I forgot number 3, right? So if you can really try to really be a big assist to your learners, to your clients, etc. Okay, so we've got think like a designer, and then this last one here, and this is I'm deliberately using a cultural example here. For North Americans and maybe for Europeans, there's a classic children's tale called Little Red Riding Hood. And I'm using it because there's this great example of it, and it's called the Little Red Riding Hood and the Day PowerPoint Came to Town. I'm showing you this. I do not expect you to read this. Of course, there's no way you could read this. Although, how many of you have seen a PowerPoint presentation where it's really dense like this? I've put it in the chat to link to this, and I'll put it in the workbook. But it's a really great example of how to tell a story, right? So this is the story. And then, they're sort of breaking it down into components, right? And, and really kind of making fun of some really bad PowerPoints, right? And this is also from this deck. It's saying, that's a 14-point font in case you're wondering. So even if you don't wear glasses and you're not 58, how old am I? 58, your eyes are not failing. Probably this is going to be really difficult for you to read. Yeah, Gabriel, isn't it fun? Yeah, it's kind of a well-known play on PowerPoints there. Okay, so let's go back here. We've got one more piece to do, which is the tech tools. But before we dive into those tech tools, I just want to pause and give you the floor. Questions, comments, anything that you want me to go back to, or any resources you want to share? So we kind of set the stage. We've talked about why and what and the how, etc. And then I wanted to kind of, from my opinion, leave the best for last, which is these tech tools. Rose is saying, where do you search for pictures to use? That's such a great question. That's such a great segue to the next section. I'm going to cover that right next. Thank you, Rosa, for that question. Neha saying, how are you presenting from within the PowerPoint slide? Oh, great question. It's called, oh gosh, I'm missing. So it's Cameo. So you go to Insert and you go to Cameo. The benefit to doing this, and I'm talking about this because it's a visual, is if you're recording, then you don't have, in the replay in the video, you don't have that sort of black bar on the side of your PowerPoint deck with your picture at the top. The downside is if I move too much, okay, now it's not doing it. Usually, yeah, there you go. If I move too much, the camera goes off. So you have to stay relatively still. And you have to not turn your camera on Zoom, right? Otherwise, you're going to get 2 videos. So great question. Okay, let me just see, what are the other ones? Rose is saying some have copyright. Oh, for images, I think you mean. Yeah, I'm going to cover that in just a second. Gabriella, what's the workbook you mentioned, and can we connect via chat teams? I have loads of resources to share too. Oh, So, Gabriella, the workbook will come out early next week, and it will have all the resources in it. If you want to send me things to put in the workbook, please, if you can, do that by tomorrow. I've put my Friday, I've put my email in the chat there, and then I'll very happily and gratefully include those in the workbook. Reza, I think one important thing is skill and design. Let's say I want to visualize something, then I need to have skills. Ooh, and expertise to draw it. Not necessarily. I will show you these tech tools. Rosa, can you explain it again about your video? Oh, sure. So you go to Insert, Cameo, and then your picture will appear in your PowerPoint slide. You, if you're on Zoom, you just have to be careful. Just don't turn on your video. Otherwise, you're going to have two recordings. There'll be two images of you in the recorded video. And just practice with it a little bit. Yeah, it's quite fun. Okay, can I get a thumbs up if you are ready for some tech tools? Are you? And if your blood pressure has just gone up, I've got you. I promise you, they're very simple. Okay, great. Okay, so, we've talked about the how, we've talked about the why, the what. Now we really need to talk about these tools, right? To actually create these visuals. So I was amazed in my research here that I'm focusing a little bit on PowerPoint, but there is actually an example of death by PowerPoint. So most, 99.999% of you don't have to worry about this, but this, having aesthetically beautifully designed images that tell a compelling story are important for more than just aesthetic reasons, right? We talked about engagement, attention, and all those kinds of things. And this is an example of a recreated PowerPoint slide that they believe led to the death of astronauts. So I'll just put this, I'll put this information in the chat as well. So just absolutely tragic. Okay, so I would like you to place your right hand, before we get into these tech tools, place your right hand over your heart and take the solemn oath of discretion. So please repeat after me. I take the solemn oath of discretion to use these tools discreetly and not go overboard. So actually, if on the count of three, everyone turn your mic on. So everyone turn your mic on, because you can really go overboard with these tools. Great. Okay, so repeat after me. I solemnly take
I solemnly take
the oath of discretion
oath of discretion
to not use these tools
not use these tools
by going overboard,
by going overboard.
and I promise to use them discreetly.
And I promise to use them discreetly.
Awesome. Okay, if you can mute again then. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to show you 10 tools, and some of them are for PowerPoint, some of them you can use anywhere you wish, etc. So one of them is to animate your slides. So here's an example right here to learn more of animation. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe down below, and I'll see you next time. Oops. Oh, sorry, that did not work that time. So animation happens within your slide. Animation happens within your slide. Now, interestingly, I should say this ahead of time, how I display my PowerPoint when I'm doing my Zoom meetings is I use speaker view. So I can't actually use these techniques because it's speaker view, not presenter view. So I tried to do a video, but clearly this one didn't work very well. So, okay, so the first one is think about animation. And animation is something that happens within the slide. And there's all sorts of techniques. And I've bookmarked some resources for you to learn how to do animation in a slide. Okay, the other one is transition. So you can use transitions. Transitions happen between slides. By the way, let me know in the chat, have you used animation or have you used transitions in PowerPoint? Let me know. This is an example of morph. Okay, so morph is my favorite transition, right? So animation happens inside a slide, or inside a slide. Morphing transitions happen between slides. Okay. Oh, nice. Okay. So a lot of you have used these. Okay. Okay. Some of you have used one. Okay. Great. Okay. So another one is AI in PowerPoint. How many, this is pretty new. So how many have used the AI feature in PowerPoint? How many have used the AI feature in PowerPoint? It is so fun. Okay, so we're going to do it right now. So you won't be able to see what I'm doing, but but I'll explain it. So I'm going to insert, and then I'm going to picture, and then I'm going to online pictures. Okay, so can you see it's loaded? Can you see sort of a different panel down the right-hand side now? Let me know if you can see that. It might be displaying for you, it might not. Oh, you can. Okay, great. Okay, so this is powered by Bing. So you're using the AI tool Bing. So someone give me an object, just in the chat. Tell me an object, an image that I could search for. What's an image I could search for? Anything at all. A mosquito. Great. Okay. So I'm going to search for so I'm in the search bar. And I'm going to hit click. Now, someone asked about being able to legally use these images. Can you see at the top, it says Creative Commons only? Can you see that box there? It says Creative Commons only. You want to make sure that that's ticked. If that's ticked, then you can use these images. And then you just click on the image that you want, click Insert, and poof, there it is. So you don't even have to leave PowerPoint to get your image, right? It's right there. So super fast, super easy, amazing. So that's one way. That was our third tool, right? Using AI in PowerPoint. You can also use many other AI tools. So I love the Microsoft AI tool. Now you do have to have an account. So this might not work for some of you, but if you're UN staff, it should work as long as you're signed in. I'll demo this in just a second. So I'm just going to talk for a minute and then I'll show you these. The other one is Unsplash. So I'll demo this again in just a second. Unsplash is fabulous. It's very different from the AI tool, but it is a great one. And you don't have to worry about copyright for these. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing for a second. I'm going to demo these. Just pardon me while I bring you over to my screen. It'll just take me a second here. Okay. Okay, so you should be able to see my screen. Can you see the Microsoft Designer? Just let me know in the chat if you can see it. So I am on, great. Okay, so this is Microsoft Designer, and this is fabulous. So someone give me a prompt is what we call, let me just turn my camera on here. So a prompt is what we call the instruction for AI. So someone give me a prompt. So an example would be a giraffe galloping on the beach with diverse people on its back, like in a watercolor style. So you can be fairly detailed. So someone give me a quick prompt. So you can tell me the style that you want. Oops. So what prompt would you like? Do you want me to go with the giraffe one? Oh, okay, here we go. A lion, oops. A lion basking in the sun with shades, sipping a cocktail. And what style would you like? Just to save time, I'm just going to put in watercolor style. So then I just hit enter. Now it's going to take a minute. So while it's doing that, now I'm bringing you over to Unsplash. And Unsplash is a place to look for very high quality images that you can use for free. So I'll just put a lion. Now it's going to be less, you can't have a prompt that's super specific, but let's say you wanted this one here. It's very nice to like the image. Oh, hang on, I'm not logged in. Okay, I'm not going to log into, oops. Let me just go backwards here. Okay, so it's very nice to like this image. It's just a nice way to say thank you to the person who did that. And then you just download it. You do have to have an account. And you just have, the only thing that gets a little bit complicated is it will sometimes give you the HTML code. So you just want to make sure if you are using it on a website, that's great. Otherwise, you just download it in a different format. Okay. Do you want to see what the AI tool? Do you want to see our lion? Give me a thumbs up if you want to see the lion basking in the sun with shades, sipping a cocktail, watercolor style. Can I get a thumbs up if you want to see that? Okay, great. Here we go. It's so cool. It's so much fun. Just move this down. Okay, here we go. There you go. So here is your things. Now the oh, thank you, Hari. Yeah, Pixabay. Yes, there's so many different sites. So thank you for sharing that one. It's great. So if you, let's just say you like this one, what I've noticed is you click on the one you like, and then it's easiest if you click edit. If you click download, you're not going to get a very high resolution image. But if you click edit, then you can go and get a much higher image. Okay. I also wanted to skip ahead and show you this tool. Like there's so many of these, right, that you can do. So this animates your images, right? This animates your images. So you upload an image and then you can animate it, and it's free. So here is an example, right? So sometimes in my team buildings, I will get people to do self-portraits, and then I animate them, and then people have to guess which person that is. So this is a simple animation. You can download these as GIFs or GIFs, however you say that, and you can control the type of animation, right? What that creature's doing. Okay, and then another one, and Anaka's saying I might go in a rabbit hole. I know, right? I keep a huge list of these tools, and then I try to use a new one every week. Oh, you're so welcome, Amy. And stay tuned. The deck will come to you shortly, and then all the resources will come to you early next week. Okay, one of the last ones. This one is amazing. It's a little bit more complicated, takes a little bit of practice, but this one takes an image and makes a video out of it. This one takes an image and makes a little video, like animation out of it. So let me bring us back as we come close to finishing up here. I'm going to go back to our deck. Okay. Okay. So if you're feeling overwhelmed, like that cat that was that video that I started off with, don't worry. You got this. You got this. You got this. If you're feeling excited, that's great, right? However you're feeling, no worries. So we've talked about the animation in PowerPoint, the Morph, the AI tool in PowerPoint, the AI tool in Microsoft, the Unsplash. You can also get people to do visual visuals for you. So in Zoom and in Teams, you can use the whiteboard feature, right? So people, you can just a whiteboard and have people do, you give them a guided prompt and they can work on that. You can animate the screen yourself. I rarely see this, rarely see this. So you animate, and this is a great way in terms of design, right? You can bring people's attention to the point that you want to, right? You can change these colors. You can do all sorts of different things there. You can also take images of those animations and you can use those. So for example, when I'm animating, I might upload something like this if I was doing a workshop on social change, on managing change. I would upload a screen and then ask people to place a tick beside the point of change they focus on most. Is it increasing awareness? Is it influencing attitude? Is it changing behaviors or creating social impact? Right. So you as the presenter can annotate, and you can open it up for other people to annotate. Ali's asking tips on reporting tables and graphs. So, that's a great one. I'll come to that in a second. Lex, I'm so glad that this is exciting for you. That's great. Thank you for that tip. There's another tool in there. I'll use an AI tool to pull these tools out. I'll put your chat into ChatGPT and pull these tools out and add them to the workbook. Okay, we talked about that animation tool. We talked about the picture to video. Here's one that I made, and notice it's really subtle, right? I was doing a blog post on unconscious bias, and no, sorry, it was the Light Maker's Manifesto, fabulous book. And so she talks about a little gremlin, watching the little gremlin appear and, be hard on yourself. So I used an AI tool to create the gremlin, and then I animated it using that Genmo tool, which is right here. Okay, I promised you the heat map. This is how you do it. It's so simple. So someone talked about doing charts and tables and things like this. This heat map of its data is so simple and easy, and literally takes you 30 seconds. Okay, and then a bonus, someone asked about non-visual learners. So when you put an image in your PowerPoint or anywhere, can you see this alt? Let me open up the annotation so I can draw your attention to where I want. I'm using a different kind of annotation now. I'm just going to use a little star. So you will automatically be given a little place to add text. So if someone isn't able to visually see the images, you can put text to describe what that image is. So very cool, very simple, very easy. Okay, so we're sliding into the finish line here. Larry, you're asking resources specifically dedicated to the tech tools. So yes, so great timely question, Larix. So next month's workshop is on unconscious bias. And then the last one for the year in November will be on tech tools. So I'll specifically do one on tech tools. Thanks, Marcy. Okay, and Harry's saying Vanguard is good for doing the alt description. Okay, so thank you. You have done a lot of work. We went through all of these tools. We've talked about how important visual storytelling is. We talked about tips and techniques and tech tools. And hopefully you've made some progress, unlike this person.
All right.
Insane right
What do
now,
we
so
got?
ignore that. But nobody ever talks about this, and I think it's the cutest thing ever. How cars do like the little achievement things. I don't really know what it's for, but I'm assuming it's like how far you drive, how many U-turns you make, whatever. I just got this new one this morning. I don't really know what it's for, like I said, but I'm assuming it came on right when I turned on my car, so I'm assuming it means like.
So just to fill in some context here, this is the incorrect use of images. So she's looking at on her dashboard. I don't know if she's being serious about this, but she's looking at the images on her dashboard as icons, and she's not thinking that they mean what they really mean. So know that you've come a long way from an hour and a half ago. I'd love to know, what's your key takeaway? What is your key takeaway? I would love to know what your key takeaway is. Also, if you, just see here. Great images, great. Okay. Okay, oh, the tech tools have been very popular. Okay. I should pay more attention to visuals. Okay, great. Okay, speaking of tech tools, keep those coming. I use a tool called Digo to bookmark all of the resources that I use in these workshops. So I've given you the link in the chat. I'll put it in the workbook, and you just click on that link and it'll give you all the links that I've used. So I've just shared that. Please also let me know, oops, sorry, folks. What will you do with your learning? What are you going to do with your learning? So it's so great that you're here, and I want this learning to make a difference. So what will you do with this learning? As you're thinking about that, feel free to explore all the resources. I know how keen people are to get the deck. I've listened to your feedback, so it should have arrived in your email inbox 3 minutes ago. And a bonus resource, if you are in and around Nairobi, I am doing a TEDx salon at Westgate. So I've put the information in the chat. It's October the 5th, 10 o'clock in the morning at Westgate. And it's going to be the Lifelong Learner's Playbook, a critical success mindset you're ignoring. So I would love if you come, please come up and say hi. Would love to see you at the TEDx. Also, thank you to Odman. This is the person that I drew the feedback, who won access to the Ban Boring online meetings. So please fill in that survey. I've just put it in the chat. Really helps me know what I did, how I can improve, what I did that you liked. Also gives me input for next month, and you get a chance to win the Ban Boring online meetings. You are so smart, people. You are so smart. So please, if you haven't already, fill in that survey. The QR code is there. It's just would be so helpful to me as I am embarking on a new part of my business. If you are a UN staff person, and you want to get access, you want to count this towards your professional development, you need to just quickly fill in that sheet, attendance sheet there. And please mark your calendars. Oh, hang on. So you can get all of the descriptions here. So so our next one is October the 17th. It's going to be a special one. We have a guest speaker, amazing woman. So early next week, you are going to get, as long as you're a member, you're going to get the video, the audio recording, the PowerPoint, the workbook, all of those kinds of things. So thank you. Please share the link to become a member. Please share that with others. I would really appreciate it. And if you would like if you want to talk to me about doing a workshop for your team on team building, tech tools, or training of trainers, please get in touch. You can see right here or a sample actually of the workshops that I deliver. Thank you for your time. You're rock stars. Hope to see you next month. Don't forget to learn, laugh, and lead. Thank you. Stay well.